Hey, how's it going everyone? It's me, it's Consciensula. I hope you're having a good day and welcome to today's Pokemon Go video. Okay, so recently it was reported that Regieleki is going to be returning to raids, but it's not going to be featured as an elite raid boss. Instead, it is going to be in 5-star raids, which means you will be able to get this Pokemon through regular means that you typically would with 5-star raids. So if you want to raid remotely, you will be able to obtain this Pokemon. Now, this brings up the question on whether or not elite raids should even exist, considering that the Pokemon that are featured in elite raids are eventually going to arrive in legendary raids. So I wanted to put into question the justification for elite raids even existing. That's what this video is going to be all about, so let's roll the intro and get right into it. Alright, let's dive right into it. So this is going to be a pretty candid discussion video. I'm going to be sharing a lot of my thoughts regarding elite raids and just my personal experiences with them, and I also wanted to engage in a conversation on this particular game mode because, yeah, like I said at the intro of this video, it is pretty controversial and there's a lot of mixed feelings when it comes to it in the Pokemon Go community. But yeah, with the recent addition of Regieleki and eventually Regidrago in 5-star raids, it made me question whether or not elite raids should even exist. There is a lot of effort that is required in order for you to participate in these exclusive raids, in particular because they are in person only and they typically tune up the bosses to be a lot more difficult than usual. You'll be required to coordinate with other trainers and actually travel to these raids. Now, on principle, the purpose of elite raids existing is pretty straightforward. It's meant to be some sort of in-person gameplay to get you to go out and actually explore, and also to meet up with other trainers in your area. They are kind of like a beacon for people to come together, and I can totally understand that Niantic had a specific philosophy in mind with their design, and they wanted to execute on that philosophy. But in my opinion, elite raids have been a bit of a mixed bag. Like, yes, there are a lot of people that do show up to them, but from my experiences, they don't even actually interact with each other. Like, they know when the raid egg is going to hatch, so they just pull up in their cars and they just wait inside, and they actually jump in right when it hatches and then they just leave. So that's been my experience with the majority of elite raids. Sure, there have been some communities that actually meet up and coordinate, but in general, I felt like it's a pretty rare case. I feel like this is the nature of Pokemon Go after COVID. Like, a lot of people have kind of adjusted their gameplay to be a little bit more independent and not necessarily reliant on other players. Therefore, I feel like elite raids plays into a culture and a gameplay style that really is outdated at this point. Like, this feature would have been phenomenal if it was released pre-COVID, and because it's released in an era where remote raids exist, where people are more used to playing by themselves or at home or isolated, like, having elite raids exist right now just really feels like Niantic is completely out of touch. And on top of that, one of the main features and selling points of elite raids is that the Pokemon that you get from them is meant to be exclusive. But that no longer seems to be the case with the upcoming legendary raid bosses, because both Regidrago and Regieleki are going to be featured in 5-star raids during this month. And both of these Pokemon were at one point exclusive to elite raids, meaning you were only able to get them if you actually put in the effort to go out and participate in these specific raids. But now that they are coming to 5-star raids, it seems like the reason why you should ever participate in an elite raid is pretty much null at this point. Like, I'm having a really difficult time finding any justification for why elite raids exist. You're essentially just doing it for early access, and I really feel like that alone is not necessarily a good enough reason for you to go out and exert all the effort needed in order to participate in these exclusive raids. So yeah, in my opinion, I feel like Niantic needs to do more, considering that a lot of people are not able to do elite raids to begin with. Like, they need to increase the incentives, like either make it so that players could actually do it remotely, or they could reward players for actually completing a bunch of them outside of just the Pokemon itself. Because eventually, if that Pokemon is just going to be coming to 5-star raids anyway, like, what is the point of doing elite raids at this point? Like, I'm not necessarily calling for them to lock specific Pokemon behind exclusively elite raids. Like, I do like that they are coming to 5-star raids, but I really feel like they need to do more to make them actually worthwhile. Because in my opinion, I feel like there's no reason to do elite raids at this point. The Pokemon that's going to be featured in elite raids is eventually going to come to 5-star raids, and I really feel like because of that, I just have no desire to go out and do elite raids anymore. And maybe this is just me, but that's just how I feel. But yeah, of course, I know there's going to be a lot of players who will not agree with me. There is a lot of chatter online from players who are not able to do elite raids finally being able to get these specific Pokemon, and I do want to celebrate that because elite raids are pretty bad in their design, in that people who live in rural areas or people who are isolated or people who are disabled are not able to do them. And yeah, it's nice that these specific players are now able to get these bosses. But in my opinion, that just makes me feel like elite raids shouldn't exist even more. But maybe that's just me. I really do not know. But yeah, in any case, that's going to be it for this discussion video. I just wanted to share my thoughts regarding this topic, and I wanted to know what the Pokemon Go community is thinking regarding it. If you have any thoughts regarding elite raids and the release of Regidrago and Regieleki in 5-star raids, definitely share those thoughts in the comments below, and let's have a great discussion. And if you ended up enjoying this video and found it to be informative, make sure you hit that thumbs up button and subscribe if it's your first time here, and don't forget that little bell so you can stay up to date on whenever I upload videos. And I want to give a quick shout out to my patrons on Patreon. You make this channel content possible. If you want to support my channel in any way, big or small, then do consider checking out the links in the description below. For all my patrons, they get a permanent spot on my in-game friends list. So if you want to interact with me in some way, like with remote raids, then do consider becoming a patron on my Patreon. And yeah, that's going to be it. I'm Kangjinsula. Be safe, have fun, love yourself, and I'll catch you all later.